It's not only the climate cult that's been a little erratic this year. The state of domestic and international politics has been a total clown show. Here to talk through some of the highlights, or should that be the lowlights of the political world, is Senator Alex Antic. Senator, great to have you here. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
From your perspective, what were the best and the worst elements of the political year that's unfolded?
Well, look, Corey, I think it would be hard to go past the Voice, I think, for the best, in the sense that it was the moment, I think, where mainstream Australia realised that it wasn't alone. You know, we had the push from corporate sector, we had the push from the media. Felt like everybody was for it, except that nobody actually was. And it was, you know, I think ultimately our Brexit moment. And from that point onwards, I think mainstream Aussies now know that they're not racist to say. It wasn't racist to vote no. And we're now seeing the trickle-down effect of that. I think Conservatives are feeling more emboldened to talk common sense. We've seen councils all over the country rejecting the Welcome to Country ceremony. There's been a great positive effect from that. And, you know, that for me was a great highlight.
Yeah, I'm in a glass case of emotion over this because it basically is exciting to think that the Australian people got it so right and the government got it so wrong. You know, in the words of the Ron Burgundy, 60% of the time it happens every time. But the reality is that the governments think they can get away with anything whenever they want, don't they? And they've been caught up on this one. So that was a great win for all of us. Yeah. What's the worst thing that's happened in politics?
Well, to be a little bit controversial, Corey, I'm going to say the worst thing that happened in politics this year was The Voice, in the sense that
we just had this conversation.
We did have this conversation, but it cuts both ways, this proposal, in a sense, because we have to remember, for all of that good, we also spent, well, they say $360 million, but in truth, there would have been hundreds of millions more spent on lost productivity. It was enormously divisive. And ultimately, there was a cost that came with that. I think we saw some of the worst of our country in that, as well as the best. So I think it has to be both. This cut both ways for mine, and I think it was completely unnecessary. We had other things to talk about. We've got cost of living crisis. We've got wars all over the world. We've got all sorts of things going on, and the Albanese government saw fit to put this front and centre. I think it's a disgrace.
Okay, so I agree with you 100%, but there is this huge disconnect between, or seemingly so, between politicians, the pronouncements they make, and the results that are experienced by the people.
Yep.
For example, I mean, we're told that everything is fine with the economy, but electricity, housing, medical, food costs, they're killing household budgets. Yep. People are finding it hard to get people to work. Politicians just seem completely out of touch and oblivious to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I heard Ian Plimer say before that Canberra's a bubble. I say it's more than a bubble. I think it's a concrete reinforced bunker, and particularly that building. I mean, you've been there, you've experienced more of it than I have, and been as frustrated as I have sometimes. And we've seen time and time again the sorts of things that get talked about, and it's pretty acute at the moment with Labor and the Greens really holding the whip hand. Are very rarely the things that I'm hearing about when I'm walking around back in SA, hearing those sorts of things you talk about. So there's no doubt it's a bubble, it's a concrete reinforced bunker. And I always say Parliament House is a little bit like a champagne fountain. The issue of the day gets poured in by the media, which happen to be on the second floor, and it trickles down throughout the building. By the time you're finished, everybody all the way through to the basement's talking about it, and the stuff that real people are talking about gets ignored sometimes.
I'm not sure that champagne they're pouring down on the people.
It's liquid.
It certainly doesn't taste very good. Hey, you've developed quite a reputation as a conviction Conservative during your time in Parliament. The Liberal Party has struggled with some of those convictions. I get the sense that Peter Dutton's more in touch with them than many others. Yep. But you've been trying to pull the Liberal Party here in South Australia into a more sensible position. How's that going for you?
Well, look, Corey, first of all, to say that, to reiterate some of the things Ian said, this show proves once again that you're ahead of the curve. You're ahead of the curve as a politician, and you're, someone I think that has shown the way on a lot of issues, probably outside the Overton window sometimes, but that's the price of being righteous and morally right. So congratulations on that. I've always thought if I could try and bring a little bit of that to the party structure and try and rebuild some of the membership base, which we've done. We've now got, I think, probably the most comprehensively conviction-based membership I've ever seen in my time in the Liberal Party. We always did, of course. We always had a lot of really good people, obviously, but the numbers have grown. There are lots of them. They're now attending meetings and pre-selections and voting in good people, which is what gives us good candidates. So, look, the party's in great shape here in SA. I think the division's doing as well as any, and we look forward to getting a lot of those people elected, particularly under the guidance of Peter Dutton's leadership.
All right. Now, before I let you go, your big political prediction for next year.
Yep, I've got it. My prediction is not going to break glasshouse windows everywhere, but Donald Trump will become the 47th, in addition to the 46th and the 45th president of the United States in 2024. And Corey, can I just say before I go, I've brought you a little present today because it is Christmas and it is your last show. So I want to give you that. Merry Christmas for you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
If you'd like to, you probably would.
Can I?
Oh, you should. You should open that. You should just quickly open it.
Safe for public consumption.
Well, that's debatable actually, but you will. Merry Davos Christmas to you, and
you will eat the bugs.
Eat the bugs, Corey.
These are the bugs that WEF want us to be eating. Mealworms for poultry and birds. I am neither of those.
Oh, well, they are, but they're high quality.
I'll be identifying it.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Senator
Alexander.
Alexander.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much for joining me on the program.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Such a regular guest.